Hey everyone, today I'm coming to you with a review on the brand new Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian Season 2 Greef Carga, or Magistrate Greef Carga. Now this is a very interesting outfit that was, I think we can say, necessary to have in the Black Series line, but it's also one that we didn't really need because the first Greef Carga, if y'all remember, and I'm pretty sure you guys do, was one of the biggest peg warmers, I think, of all time, and still is to this day. So you are going to find him on the shelf next to the old one, and hell, probably the Season 3 one that they'll release 2-3 years from now. But this figure does the job pretty well. I do have a decent amount of gripes with it. It's nothing too special, but without further ado, let's get into the Magistrate Greef Carga's review. So before we go over the box, I, of course, want to start with the packaging. Now, it is in the standard Galaxy packaging. Say goodbye to this because this is the last wave with the plastic packaging. There you can see Greef Carga. He is next to the New Republic security droid and Axe Cloves. You have a bit of Navarro in the background, but that is a awesome image of him. Magistrate Greef Carga on the front, Black Series there, side, back. His bio reads Magistrate Greef Carga. Once an expediter for the Bounty Hunters Guild, Greef Carga ran the trade on Navarro. Now, Magistrate of Navarro, Greef is cleaning up that rough and tumble world. And yes, he is, because he essentially put a school in a place in which there was imperial just war in a city. I think we can call it a war. It was like a micro war that just happened in Navarro. And the fact that he put his school there, I think I can say he's doing a pretty good job of cleaning up the town. Now, for the figure itself, it does I think I can say a very good job representing the design from Season 2. Now, where my problems come into effect is this piece right here is my main problem. And I know a lot of people have had the same problem, but it is just very poorly designed because it constantly goes up like that. It bows. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to be flat. I wish it was just a peg or something. They could have done that way better, and it would have made this figure way better. Obviously, you can kind of stretch this out if you have him hold it, but what I would recommend doing is kind of just have his chin over it, and it is, you know, a jacket, so it does have a lot of wiggle room. It's kind of funny. But yeah, just that's my main problem with this figure is this little piece. And it does actually have a bigger impact on the figure than I was hoping because it's so annoying. It's just there, it bows out, and it doesn't secure the figure well enough. I feel like they could have designed that a lot better. But for the rest of the figure, I do think I can say they did a very good job because if we're looking at this likeness, I think it looks very, very good. I do have to say, though, I think the eyebrow on this side is definitely off. It looks more centered to me. I feel like it should be a little bit more this way. I don't know if that's just me, but it looks a little more bushy than the other side. I think that's what I'm getting at. But I do have to say that this head sculpt is leaps and bounds better than the first Greef Carga. This is just too shiny. He looks like he's sweated the most he's ever sweated in his life. This looks a lot better. This wasn't horrific, although now I'm looking at it on camera. I don't think that's too far off. This one just looks way better to me with the beard and the likeness looking so much like Carl Weathers, who was an amazing actor and director who did direct some of the episodes for Season 1 and 2, I believe, or it might have just been Season 2, but the stubble on his beard looks very, very good. Although, actually, I don't know if I can say that because from afar, it looks great. But close up, it just looks like kind of sloppy. Just a bunch of little white dots painted on. But it's not terrible. It does the job pretty well. But for the head sculpt, as far as the head sculpt goes, I think it is very, very good. I'm excited to see the Season 3 design, which we know we're going to get. They're going to make it down the line eventually, whether it's 5-10 years from now. They're going to make it. I want to see how much grayer his beard is. It's just an evolution from no gray here to this massive gray beard, and then he's just going to have a Gandalf beard by the time we get to the last design of the figure. But the things that are reused from this figure, I do want to point out before the comparisons. The arms are reused, as you can see. The legs are also reused, as you can see. So that's not great, but they're fine. Like, I'm sure that's what they look like in the show because he has a fairly similar outfit. I know it looks pretty different, but you know, if you look closer at it, it is fairly similar to his first design. When I'm referencing is kind of just underneath here. Just the legs were pretty standard, and same thing over here. So I believe those do or are accurate to the show. Oh my goodness, all the figures just fell. But his gun is very, very nice. It is different from his first one. And you can attach it or port it into the holster down below right here, which is difficult, but it does go in nonetheless. And it is kind of cool how that works because it kind of can just fit outside of it if you wiggle it out a bit, just like that. And that looks good. He can have his hand gripping it or something like that. And even if you do that, that might help with this thing up here because you can already see it's kind of stretching, which is what you want. But this piece right here is just, that's my main gripe. This line and this whole thing, it looks good, but it could look better. And I think it just is very clunky plastic. And I feel like Hasbro should start, you know, fidgeting or playing around with the idea of doing more soft goods because I feel like that definitely would have benefited this figure. But at the same time, it could have also made it look 10 times worse. So this isn't terrible, but it's also not 100% spot on, great, amazing job, Hasbro. I'm just, obviously, you know me, trying to find the nitpicks on the figure. But the rest of the figure, I do have to say, is pretty good. It's not that it's really a bad figure. It's just, it's not like a crazy, amazing design or character that we've been wanting. Like, I don't think there's a lot of people that were like, in my top 3 most wanted Black Series, I want Magistrate Greef Carga. That is my most wanted figure. I don't think anyone's saying that. I'm sure there's a couple people that are excited to have this design, but now I really want a Mythrol. My point with all this is, why are we getting this before the Mythrol? Give us the Mythrol. That's like my most wanted Black Series for Mandalorian, I think. Like, who else really? They've made so many figures from that show already, and they're still making them. But Mythrol is one of the top ones that I want. But back to the Greef Carga figure. Oh, let's look back there. Sorry, Mr. Carl. But I need to show this because it is an action figure, doing a review. That is interesting to see the inside of this. It is definitely a little bit noticeable from the front, but wow, that is a very drastic difference in color, for sure. But other than that, I think that's all I have to go over with this Greef Carga. So let's get on to the articulation quickly, and then the comparisons and final thoughts. So articulation on him isn't terrible, but the head does go up that much. It does go down, tilt, full 360. Actually, very good head movement. And that is important with this figure because you can get that, hey, Mando, you're legendary, Mando. Or you can just get him to hold his thing down, which is probably what I'm going to do majority of the time when I'm displaying him. The arms go out that much. There is a bit of a butterfly joint, which actually does go... it has a decent amount, not the greatest, but enough to make me content. The arms go full 360. There is a single jointed elbow. It goes in exactly 90. Down, does rotate. The hands are both on a horizontal, not horizontal, vertical hinge, so they go up, down, and full 360. Same thing over here, like I mentioned. And then the ab crunch goes down, essentially not at all. And back, oh yeah, there we go. There we go, dad bod. Greef. That's hilarious. That's cool. I didn't actually notice a little silver detail, but back lot, side to side, pretty good movement there overall. I don't think I can complain with that. And then the legs do kick forward that much. Back splits, upper thigh cut, single jointed knees. I always loved the sculpt of these legs. And then the ankles go up, down, and ankle rocker pivot. But for a figure with all this, you know, traffic cone plastic, I think it has fairly good articulation overall. But now let's get on to the comparisons. So for comparisons, here we have the 2 other Greef Cargas that we've got. This is the Credit Collection one, which is still sealed and will continue to be sealed. And the other Black Series one that we got, just the main line or the Galaxy Packaging one. Now, this isn't a bad figure. I actually think I might prefer this design a little bit more over this one, but I do like that head sculpt a lot more, even though I wouldn't swap them because that's not how he looked in this outfit. He looked like that, except not all just got a waxing session or just sweat, did a marathon. He just looks odd there. But this one is a cool design too as well for Credit Collection because he kind of has that Lando vibe with all of his different costumes, and he's very materialistic in that way because in Season 3 he has this crazy outfit. So this isn't too far off from what I imagine he would wear, but... let's take him out and let's have you stand up. Okay. He does have a little bit of a hard time standing, for sure. Here we have a Dark Trooper. I don't really know exactly who or what to compare him next to. I have some figures here, but the Dark Trooper looks pretty good next to him, even though they haven't interacted yet, at least. Maybe that would be a cool thing to see. There we have a Bo-Katan next to Greef Carga. And then here we have Cara Dune, which sadly is our only figure that we will ever get of her. We'll never get a Season 2 design, which I wish we would have got that just right before the whole controversy happened, because then we would have had all the Cara Dune outfits, but whatever, I digress. And here's the Snowy Mando, but these all look very, very good together. I don't have the TVC one to compare him next to. I should get that one, but I'm just, not too interested in that figure right now, at least. But yeah, that is all I have for comparisons. It is time for my final thoughts. Mando! Sorry, headphone users. So my final thoughts on this Greef Carga is, honestly, I think Hasbro did a decent job. I think there is a little bit that they could have done better, being just that. But other than that, they did do a pretty good job with this. It is half reuse, I'd say. A lot of it is new, but the arms and the legs are reuse, which, it's expected. And hey, it doesn't really take away from the figure. But like I said, this is probably one of my least favorites of the wave. It's not a terrible figure, but the rest of the wave is just so heat. It's so fire, guys. It's so amazing. The rest of the wave is just awesome. I will have the rest of the reviews coming out shortly in the next couple weeks. I don't have Grand, Inquisitor, or Grogu yet, but I do have Mig, so I'll have him coming out fairly soon. But overall, I think I'm going to have to give this figure a 6 point. No, I'm going to give him a 7 point. Just a 7 out of 10. I think Hasbro did an okay job. You don't need this if you have the original Greef Carga, but if you do want to choose between the two, at this point, I'd probably go with this design or even wait for Season 3. I just think likeness-wise, this is way, way better, and I don't think you'll be entirely disappointed with this piece by any means. But please let me know what you think of this Greef Carga figure in the comments below. As always, I will do my best to respond. But until my next video, we're 15 subscribers away from 1,000. Let's hit that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, Mando, you're legendary, Mando, because I hate you. Or something like that. I think that's how it goes. Bye, guys.